Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Market Overview and Trading Research, and welcome to another beautiful day. Today is September 11th. Sad day for most of us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, yeah, yeah, I was in New York City during 9/11. So it goes without saying, I remember it well. It's hard to believe it was 23 years ago. But
Dude, I know, right?
I was working in Midtown. I was in the same building that Radio City Music Hall is in. And a guy who I traded with out in Chicago actually calls me up and he's like, "Hey, what the hell is going on down there?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Aren't you guys in the trade centers?" And I said, "No, we're in Midtown." And he's like, he's like a plane. And this guy was a pilot before he was a trader. He's like, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And they said, they said, it's on the news. He's saying there it's a small private plane, but he's like, "I'm telling you, this is a commercial jet." When he would know because he was a pilot. So anyway, when the other plane hit, me and this guy Wendell, who I worked with, were like, "Let's get the hell out of here," because Manhattan's an island, and I lived in Connecticut, and Wendell lived in New Jersey, so we took off. Everyone else went to the conference room, but I'm like, "Get the hell out of here." Then I flagged down. I don't even know if you're allowed to say it anymore, but what they used to call like a gypsy cab,
Yeah.
and the guy took me back to Greenwich, and the first building fell right when we were going over one of the bridges, and then in between when I got home and they dropped me off and I got up to my room, which was on the third floor, the other one fell. But yeah, my wife was working at the American Stock Exchange, which is literally no exaggeration across the street from the trade centers.
So did Kate get out without any trouble?
Yeah. But I mean, she still has nightmares about it. I mean,
Yeah,
here it is
man, I can
23 years later.
imagine. Dude, that's pretty traumatic stuff to live through, period. So
And now
listen,
we got
talk
all
to
these
me a little
stupid
bit.
ass college kids that support Hamas.
Talk to me a little bit about this stuff with Mayor Adams. What's going on here? I see they're raiding police officers and all kinds of
That's,
stuff. And
it's the crooked political machine, man. It's I think these people kind of just accept corruption as part of the job. And yeah, I don't know. Apparently the cops are all freaked out. The feds are saying, we're coming after them. They think that the police station is bugged. So yeah, I don't know really what's going on or what's going to happen, but you probably need some cleaning house over there anyway. All right. So anyway, I'm sure all the stories are going to be about that debate, which I could barely even watch. I had to basically turn it off, and I was going back and forth between the debate and the X Files, which was pretty cool.
it's
All
actually
right,
a
so we
better
got our
choice for the X
inflation.
Files.
What's that?
So that's actually a better choice to watch the X Files.
Yeah, some of the X Files are really good. I mean, some
Oh
of them
yeah,
are dumb, but some
absolutely.
of them are really good.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so we got this the CPI at 8:30, which I guess should be relatively important. So this is due out at 8:30. So we'll hang out and see what happens then. All right. So this could just help determine the size of the first rate cut. What else do they say in here? Here's a good example of I saw this morning a headline that said oil is rebounding on supply disruptions from some hurricane that's coming up. I mean, this is just a perfect example of the media trying to tie everything into a news story. I mean, to me, it's just an oversold bounce. Let's see if it says anything over here. Yeah, no, it said, oh, look at this one. Despite demand concerns. So this is like a different headline, right? One says it's up because of supply, and then this is, well, I guess supply and demand are two sides of the same coin, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what oil looks like.
Go
But
back further on that
the
chart.
important level to watch here is back here, right around 68.70 or so. I mean, we can't be that close, but a lot of times when a market is going down, it goes down like a staircase, and it's like a series of trading ranges. And what was support becomes resistance. So that's what we got to look at for now here. So I would probably go right over to there. See where that close and that open were. So 68.20, I think, is probably the level to watch here. As long as it's below that, it's going to keep. Yeah, I would. I mean, I would maintain my bearish thing. That's the trouble with these stupid media. They try to attach a reason. I mean, look at this. Look at this chart. Would you say today was anything special? You know,
No.
as a supply demand, it's like it's just dumb. Weak economic data, which that should make oil go down. All right. Anyway, there we go. Crude inventories unexpectedly fall. Crude sinks to new lows on China data, right? But now crude is actually up. How about that? Anyway, I guess that's one of my pet peeves.
Man, this chart on Clorox looks really nice.
Yeah.
See where it's gotten to?
Yeah. Approaching let's see, there's a good chance there's going to be some resistance though. See these former peaks here? So right around 170. And it's going to be overbought too. Yeah. So really overbought. Let's see, write this down actually. I can never find a damn pen when I need one. Oh, there it is. All right. So Clorox.
Listen, if the host writes that down, you should write this down.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's a pretty basic thing in trading, and a pretty common thing is that markets that get overbought and get to resistance tend to sell off, right? I mean, that's what happened here. So we first had resistance back here in July of 21 around 170. We got back up there in January 22. And how does that happen? It happens because there's people who bought at the peak here who regret doing so when the price drops. And they say, if it gets back to my level, I'm going to sell to get out. So remorseful buyers from a former peak can make another peak form. So we got a peak there. And I mean, look at this. This is within $1 of each other. So we're really overbought, which means we're trading above what would be its normal or typical range. The buyers have been really aggressive, and we're getting close to a resistance level. So I would be potentially watching this for a reversal. So if you're a put buyer, this is something to pay attention to here. Let me just make this a little easier to read. These guys at TradingView really seem to like purple. They got a lot of things that are colored purple. I guess they have a scientific reason for that, but yeah. So you can watch for a potential reversal if we get a little bit closer. It could be something like you break your uptrend line. That's your trigger for getting in, or it could be that RSI starts to turn and starts to go lower. That would show us that conditions are getting back to normal. They're going from being overbought to normal. So like overbought, it's like a rubber band. It's like stretched out, right? And now if it starts going back to normal, that means that the buyers are kind of losing, I guess enthusiasm would be a good word there. But yeah, that definitely bears watching there. It's a pretty interesting looking chart. Let's see what the volume is here. Trades about 1.4 million a day. Yeah. So I think going back to, I mean, I guess we're going to maybe get some moves off this inflation data that's coming out. But I'll show you what I think is the really important thing to watch here. And all right. Yeah. So S&P is down. It's basically flat. It's only down about 10 basis points. But I think the market's all going to be, if there's like one thing to watch, it's this over here. Right? How does XLK, this is our technology, this ETF tracks the technology sector, which is the biggest sector. So the question is, well, I should say if this gets back above 210, right, that's going to be a sign that the broader market is going to go higher. Notice how important this price level is. It had been resistance way back here in March, and then it can turn into support in May, and then it became support again in July, and now it's resistance again. So biggest sector of the market, if it doesn't break above this resistance soon, what'll probably happen is some of the sellers who created the resistance with their sell orders will start to get anxious, and they're going to start to undercut each other because they don't want to miss out. They know the buyer is going to go to whoever is willing to sell at the lowest price. So if we go sideways, I think the odds are greater that we go down. If we're going to go up, I think it'll probably happen today after the CPI number, I mean. But anyway, you can just see how 210 has really been important here.
For a long time.
Right? And this is just a good chart for showing you, like, as the market's going higher, you get a lot of seller's remorse, and that manifests itself in what was resistance converting into support, right? Resistance becomes support, resistance becomes support, resistance back here became support over here, resistance becomes support. So a very common thing, right? Resistance becomes support. It's a market that's going up. So obviously there's going to be seller's remorse because people sell and they watch the price go higher, right? So anyway, now we might have the opposite going up here too, right? Resistance becomes support. So now if support starts becoming resistance, that's a sign of buyer's remorse, and that's a characteristic of a market that's going lower. So anyway, let's look at the big three there.
People must be running into consumer staples because Procter & Gamble almost looks the same.
That's Clorox?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely going to go on the watch for reversal list as well. Well, strength in consumer staples could actually be a bearish signal for the broader market because it could be, your old flight to safety thing going on here. So here's our consumer staples sector. It's really not that big. It's only about 6.5% of the market. But, sometimes money flows into here before the market starts to go lower. It's like your classic flight to safety then. All right, now I want to take a look over here at the healthcare sector. Well, actually, you know what? Let's look at I'm kind of intrigued here. Let's take a look in the consumer staples sector for other companies that might look like they're going to reverse. So Procter & Gamble is the biggest. Costco is the next biggest. All right, so Costco is testing resistance. So now this is an example of, this is the second biggest stock in the sector. So it could be holding the sector back a little bit here because it's at resistance. So if this resistance breaks and Costco starts to move ahead, that's going to draw the whole sector higher probably.
And we're going to question here from Jonathan. Goldman Sachs, will this CPI push it lower or back up based on the report?
Say that again?
GS, Goldman Sachs, will this CPI push it lower or back up based on the report?
Well, I mean, it all depends if it's a surprise or not. Oh, look at that. Walmart's breaking.
Wow, Walmart broke out yesterday.
It depends, right? If it's in line, it probably won't do anything. But then we could also have an example of what was good news is bad news. So let's think about this. So if inflation comes in higher, if the number comes in higher than people expect, then that gives the Fed less reason to cut. So if it's like a surprise to the upside, I think it could be bearish for the market. If it's a surprise, or if it beats it by a little bit, I don't think it's going to do much. But if it comes in, and generally if stuff comes in line, then it doesn't really have much of an effect. So let's see what they're looking for here. CPI is expected to rise 0.2% from July. So year over year is 2.6, down from 2.9. All right, and then we got the producer price index tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of it just depends on if it's a surprise or not. So if it's lower, than estimates, then that would be the Fed is going to cut rates. So that would probably be bullish for the market. So that's what I think is going to happen, but we shall see. All right, so we got Walmart there. So that's some pretty positive action there. Coke and Philip Morris.
Really, Philip Morris is still in the consumer staples?
Yeah. I don't really like it though. I mean, I don't think I'd ever invest in Philip Morris. I just think it's unethical. Just like I would never invest in Nike. Now, Pepsi is, I guess this is a potential reversal play. It's not really overbought, but it is at this former resistance level here. Mondelez. See what that looks like. Oh, how about that? So I haven't looked at this one in a while. And yeah, so I don't even remember the last time I looked at this, but look at where it stalled out, right? We got this big move higher here, like this rapid move up. And then we get right up to around 76, and we've hit resistance there for 4 days in a row. And the reason why it's resistance is because just what we saw before in Clorox, right? Resistance tends to form at former peaks. There's why people say sell at former peaks. Well, that's because when you get to a peak, sometimes some of the people that are selling, or sometimes some of the people that create the resistance with their sell orders, they fear that they're going to miss out. They get anxious and they start to undercut each other. And that results in a snowball effect, which pushes the price lower. So there's a good chance we get a reversal here too. Really overbought. And as we know, when things tend to go up quickly through certain price levels, then they reverse and go quickly back down through them. So I know Brandy's probably anxious to comment about all these illegal immigrants that are eating pets. that was definitely like, oh boy, let's go back to the X-Files.
Mark, you need to Google that and watch it though. They actually arrested a lady that was eating a cat in this woman's yard in that town in Springfield. They dumped 20,000 Haitians into a town of 58,000 people, and they're camping in their yards. There's city council meetings where the citizens are just outraged and they're asking them what to do, and the city government refuses to do anything about it. So calling that city manager is going to get the response of what they got. So I mean, I've done with local government, man. The managers are just as bad as the people that serve most of the time.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's Mondelez. Potential reversal there. Altria, Colgate. We look. Actually, not we looked at Clorox. Colgate.
I mean, I think you can actually Google Haitians in Ohio, and it'll probably pull you right to the stories on YouTube.
Man, I used to
No, there
live
were
next to this
geese, there
Haitian
were
family.
ducks, there were dogs, there was a cat. The lady that got
Yeah, I
arrested,
used
the
to live
cop
next to this
asked her
Haitian
about the
family.
cat,
To be
Brandy.
perfectly honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they were eating people's pets. We had a flood one time, and where the town, they forgot to open the floodgates, or the person who was supposed to open the floodgates didn't have the key, so the whole town filled up with water. So anyway, I got this dumpster in my yard with all this like stuff that got ruined that was in my basement. And I come outside one day, and there's my neighbors, this Haitian woman and her kid who was probably maybe 6 or 7 years old, and he's digging through the dumpster. And I'm like, "What are you doing? This is all disgusting stuff that was underwater." And I'm like, "Get out of here!" And then they found a tape deck that I had when I was in college. It was like a dual tape deck, right? So you could record one tape to another. And one of the sides was even missing, like the thing where you slide in the tape that was pulled out. And they're like, "Can I have this?" And I was like, "Yeah." But it was really, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to stereotype, but that particular Haitian family was pretty crazy.
Don, when we came on this morning, I told him we're not going to talk about the debate. He said, shit. Hey, GE looks like it's in a range too, from 170 to 157.
Which one?
GE.
Oh,
We're still in consumer staples. Are they in consumer staples?
Now this would be probably in industrials, I think.
That's the one I saw right there, Heather. The lady had cat in her teeth. That was crazy, man.
Well, no one better try to steal my Clifford to eat him.
Well, I
Of
mean,
course, he's all muscle. He's got like no fat on him, so he probably wouldn't taste very good.
they find a way to season that cat up, that dude up.
All right, yeah. So this is XLI. Here's our industrials. Wow, look at that. Look at the fall we had here. I mean, we were looking for this though, and we got overbought. So anyway, um, all right. So let's see some of these questions people are asking here.
So yeah, we need to look at Goldman Sachs, please. Then Mary would like the levels on Walmart, and Jonathan would like you to look at Amazon and Tesla.
I mean, I remember my grandfather telling me that during the Great Depression, my uncle used to shoot skunks, and that's what they would eat.
Oh yeah, man. People eat
Sometimes.
possums, all kinds of stuff down here. Go for turtles.
Yeah, so Goldman, big sell off, and it's back to this price level here that we should be watching, 465 or so. But here's an example of where we had our fast move up, right? Fast move down, fast move up. So because we moved through these price levels so quickly, there just wasn't a lot of time for people to be selling, who are going to be remorseful, who are going to be trying to buy the shares back on the way down. So if we break this support, we could get into a move that's pretty rapid and pretty meaningful. I would be down here around 440. See, we sell off, find support there. So if we break this support, it's a good chance that we find support there again. That's some pretty negative action, though. That's some pretty aggressive selling.
That's the truth, Heather. They're just dropped off here with absolutely no resources except what's given to them by the government. They're going to eat whatever they can find.
I've noticed, I know it's only anecdotal, but down like over by the stores here, I've seen people a lot more panhandle. I mean, there was never panhandlers. Now it's not like there's a lot of them, but it's not uncommon. Yeah, so look at Amazon. So here's an example of running into resistance at the level that was support before. So support there. We get up, we get to resistance. We get our bearish engulfing pattern here, and we're outside reversal day, and then the market goes down. So now we're back up, and I would say around 180 is the level you got to watch. If it gets to maybe 183, 184, there's a good chance it keeps going, because here's our example of our fast move down. And we gap down, and this is the old gaps refill, right? We fall, we gap down, we reverse, we make the fast move and gap right back up through those levels.
And then your levels on Walmart, please.
Yeah, right here, 77.30. If it reverses, I mean, it's a little overbought, but that's where I would be watching if we reverse, either for a bounce, or if that breaks, then for a sell off. All right, so let's do Tesla. Yeah, I mean, this looks to me a little kind of neutralish here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this one. I don't really see much there. It was geese.
No, he was carrying a couple of geese around too, but they were killing the ducks, beheading the ducks and cooking them. I mean, pulling them out of the city pond or whatever. It is
Well,
what it
that
is.
would have surprised me, because I remember in Greenwich, a bunch of the immigrants got arrested they were shooting geese with bows and arrows in the park, and I think they were eating them. I don't know if they knew it was illegal to kill them or anything, but
But dumping a third of the population of a town with new people just off of buses and dropping them off in a city, that's just not right.
no, it's kind of inhumane.
Yeah, it is.
So
It is exactly
Tesla,
what it
I'd
is.
be wild. So look at this right here, right? 232 support becomes resistance, Comes resistance. So that's what I would be watching there. I mean, it's a couple dollars away, but I think if we, depending on what these CPI number looks like here,
Be
if
on
we
4
break
minutes.
this resistance, we would be getting into these price levels that we had gapped through previously. So as we know, if we tend to gap or make a quick move one way, and we reverse and get back to those same levels going in the opposite direction, there's a chance that we gap or make a quick move right back up. So Tesla, I would be thinking about this as a breakout play potentially. And we do have the lower bottom here, which could give us some insight that if we do get there, that a lot of times when you get to resistance, and you wonder if it's going to break or not, if you get this group of what we call higher lows leading into it, it tells us that as time is going by here, the buyers are just getting more aggressive. So, but the sellers are hanging out and being content. So you get aggressive buyers and content sellers, and what happens? It sets the stage for the resistance to break.
We haven't looked at any Chinese stocks in a while. Look at Baba.
Oh, wait, sorry. Well, it's not doing much this morning. Big move yesterday. This is the Chinese large cap ETF that I follow.
Oracle had a big day yesterday too. There, Don.
Yeah, so doesn't look like much is going on over here. Oracle, yeah,
Oracle.
Yeah, now this is where you want to watch for a reversal, because notice how it got all the way up here yesterday. This little old kind of inverse sledgehammer type looking thing here. Right, let's just think about what it tells us, that we got all the way up to there, but by the close, the sellers overpower the buyers and push us all the way back down. So that could be the beginning of a downtrend. Now, the key price to watch here, depending on your risk tolerance, is yesterday's low and yesterday's open. So someone who's more conservative might say, all right, well, if we break 153, which was yesterday's low, that's when I think about starting to buy some puts. Someone who's got less risk tolerance, or no, more risk tolerance, might say, all right, well, if we break yesterday's opening price, then that's where I get involved. Most volume trades on the open and the close, right? So there tends to be support / resistance, or support and or resistance at the most recent opens and closes. So it's kind of important to watch, like look here, right? So open, close, like all right at the same level. You can see that like right here, right? So that means there's a good chance there's going to be some kind of support down around here at the opening price, 154. We'll call it 154.20, right? So if we get down there, there's a chance that we bounce off of there. So if you're looking to play a reversal, you want to see if that level breaks, right? I mean, me personally, I'd probably give myself a little bit more room and wait for the former low to get taken out. But, the fact that we had this intraday reversal yesterday, we got all the way up to there. And by the close, we were all the way back down to there. That, yeah. So that's what I would watch there. We don't look at the financial sector. Yeah, now this is, look at this here, right? So the financials has a big down day for financials. And where do we find support? Same level that was resistance here. So if you're thinking about buying or selling something and you're wondering where to get in, well, a lot of times when we get to former support or resistance levels, we tend to, sell off. All right, so these numbers
came in line.
Yeah, so then probably nothing's really going to happen.
Yeah. Till the revision, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that's
it's got the
something that
market
they
down a
didn't.
little bit. Nothing too
That's something
dramatic.
they didn't discuss last night either. Was about the jobs. About the job revisions and the way the numbers have been manipulated over the last couple of years, because they have revised it 40 to 70,000 every month down.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty.
And there was really no economic discussion.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's all just kind of platitudes, I guess.
I guess
I
people
just
that are
find
going
it kind
to.
of disgraceful that, you know, Kamala could go out there and just say all this stuff that has been, refuted so many times, and the narrators didn't even,
Oh, they go right along with it.
yeah, they don't even like fact check her.
Not at all.
Like Donald Trump's part of this 25, whatever the hell it is, and he's not. Um, they just I guess they just figure if they say it enough, people will start to believe it.
Well, that's exactly what has been going on for years, and they didn't follow up on any questions either to either one of the candidates. Really, I don't know. It was a pretty bad debate actually.
Yeah, Trump's going to end Social Security. If anything is going to ruin Social Security, it's all these illegal immigrants coming in because they're going to end up getting Social Security.
Well, and we wouldn't have a housing problem if you hadn't stuffed 21 million people into the country and then expect them all to find a place to live.
Yeah. All right. If anyone has any questions, let me know here. And if not, I'm going to get going. So
You got
let's
any
see
more
what
tickers, guys? Throw them in the chat.
Yeah, so we just talked about Oracle.
We've covered everybody up there.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
look at TLT real quick. It's over 100, I believe.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty interesting here. It just goes to show you, right? Even though this is the interest rate market, this is the bond market, the rules of the technical stuff still apply. And that's because it's people that are doing the trading. So it's the same thing. Like we find resistance at former peaks. Just like we saw on Clorox and whatever else we looked at, it's the same thing. Former peak becomes resistance again, becomes resistance again. So now we're breaking out. So this means interest rates are going lower, right? This is an inverse to interest rates.
We need to cover natural gas. Then Micron, or is MU Micron?
Yeah. Yeah, so natural gas is once again stalled out at the top of the range here. So, that's your top of the range, like 227, 228. And then the bottom is down around 215.
Hey, but if it busts out of that goalie, it might be going.
Yeah, I'd be watching that for a potential breakout. Let's see what false stories they're giving on the news over here.
What questions did we pass over years, Gooley? Hold on, let me go back. I saw the house in Louisiana. Would natural gas go up due to the hurricane? I mean, I don't know. It's a fast moving storm. I think it'll go through pretty quick myself. And I don't think natural gas is actually, I don't know. I don't know anymore, honestly, because it doesn't move the way it used to.
I don't think the news, as I always say, I don't think the news really drives it.
Listen, we're here to please, Gooley, so don't ever give us the frowny face, or you get full immersion.
Micron at support, right? So this is something to watch. When something gets to one of these levels, they don't tend to stay there for too long. They go one way or the other. They're either going to rebound or going to break down. So right where we're trading now, right around 86.50 or so, is going to be important to watch here. So, it would be pretty surprising for this thing to go another couple days trading right around that level without moving one way or the other. So anyway, yeah, that's what I would be watching there.
We need SunCoke Energy. Then XLU. You're welcome, Brandy.
Yeah, so this looks like it's breaking down as well. So it's right. 775 was the low there. So that's going to be an important psychological level. But yeah, I mean, considering the move lower and the fact that there's been no rebound, it's pretty pretty I mean, that's weak action, We get these big moves lower and there's like no rebound. That's what happens here. You get the big move lower and instead of rebounding, you just go sideways.
And then XLU for Gooley, if you would, please. You're welcome, Jonathan. Have a nice day, buddy. Good luck in the market.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of looking up a little bit again here. So that would be consistent with interest rates going down, which makes sense, right? Yeah.
That's right. Hey, smash that like, give us a thumbs up, and if you like the vibe, please subscribe. And thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. We love you more than you'll possibly know.